Hello everybody and welcome on my YouTube channel. You are with Alendris, and like you can see, I'm back to the action. I was really busy last week with the 60 years of my mother, so that's why I was not active at all, but I will try to catch back. Today I have a job because we have two new heroes who are available on the test server from some days ago, so I will show you them. Hop. It's Armed Escort and Frost Dragon. We will begin with Armed Escort, who is the sign-in hero of the next month. Armed Escort is a mid laner, middle line agile hero with enough firepower to destroy enemies in the way, armor power, so if we are checking his statistic, around 7,000 attack damage, around 58,000 HP, armor 730, magical resistance 380, and physical critical score 1,580. So, my first impression, the attack damage score seems to be little low, but we will see after. And when we are checking the training field boost, HP 22,000, attack damage 3,740, and physical critical score 362. So it's already visible that if this hero is good, we will have to train him quickly, because attack damage 3,740, it's more than a 50% additional score of attack damage. It's just huge for this hero. So the final score when you have the full trained hero, you will have 80,000 HP, 10,740 of attack damage, and nearly 2,000 of critical score. We will see, but it looks like not bad. Let's now check his skills. I will begin with the ultimate skill, Flame Shot. Sellars launches a flame shot to deal area damage and burn enemies, increases 8,400 damage, burning damage plus 12,600. So when I'm reading the description of this skill, it seems really strong. We will see right after. The second skill, the green one, Explosive Shot. Sellars fires off an explosive shot, dealing area damage to enemies in front of him, increase 5,250 damage. Third skill, the blue one, Scatter Shot. Sellars shoots fast to damage and blind enemies, increase damage by 3,675, and blinds the enemy in according of the level. Interesting skill, because actually in the metagame we begin to have a lot of physical hero, and it will be interesting to have a blind to decrease their damage. And finally, the purple skill, the fourth one, Airflow Shot. Sellars' normal attack has a chance to knock the target back, and in according of the level of enemy, you will do it at 100%. So this, another time, it looks strong, because I don't know how it will be. I didn't test this hero still, but it means that every time he will not do one skill, but he will do one normal attack. He will knock back the front line behind him, or the enemy who will be in front of him behind. So it looks really interesting. Let's discover first of all his position on the battlefield. Armed Escort is a mid liner, so his position is not so important than for a backliner or a frontliner, but we will see anyway where he is. Okay. Bloody Earl in front, it's really good. Ghost Knight and Chemist in front also. It means that he seems to be in the back lane of the mid lane. Okay. No, I forget one, even if he is not really useful. Ah, Hidden Needle is behind. Death Mage is in front. Ah, okay, it's not so important, but Master Mage is behind. Could be interesting, for example, if this hero had crazy ultimates that he should be behind, but he is not. Okay, so nothing crazy about his position, nothing bad, nothing crazy good also. We will now test the skill of this hero in 1 versus 1. Let's begin the skill test. So, okay, she dodge. Okay. Oh, you saw the knockback. This is a blind. It's interesting. I want to see the ultimate. Oh, 24,000 on the tank, plus the damage over time. I want to see, during the full fight, the exact range of this skill. This skill is also interesting. You see, it deals an interesting amount of damage. I want to see also the range of the blind, if it's a full screen or if it's just a front line and mid lane. Second ultimate, without a critical this time. But I think he's dealing an interesting amount of damage. With only 2 heroes in front, I'm really curious. Okay, let's see the result. Oh yes, 320,000 damage against only 2 heroes. I think we can have some interesting expectation for this hero. Let's now try the damage test. I'm curious to see what he will be able to do in this damage test. Okay, the second skill is touching front line and mid lane. The blind is touching only front line and little bit behind. So it's some interesting information. And I want to see if the ultimate is full screen. Yes, the ultimate is full screen, so it's really good. Because the ultimate skill is really dangerous. Okay, I will accelerate a little bit the fight. Now we have all answers for our questions. And I want to see the final result. The knockback is also not bad, because it can change the position of the tank, and sometimes you will be able to touch the second heroes instead of the tank. Okay. Oh, nearly 500,000 damage. It's really interesting, and it was for sure for the damage test, so without any damage in front, but we will see now in real situations. For this first match, I'm doing a little pause because some of you asked me about the strategy, so I will explain you a little bit. In front of me, I have a metagame team: Turtle Fighter, Cross Knight, Avenger, Evil Rabbit, and Wind Priest. So, what I'm trying to do: Turtle Fighter, in my side, is here to counter Wind Priest in the beginning of the match. After that, I have Death Mage to counter the first grab of Evil Rabbit. Steel Champion is here to manage the ultimate of Wind Priest in the second part of the match. My Wind Priest is here to deal a lot of damage and also to kill the Turtle Fighter of my enemies. And finally, Armed Escort is here for the test, so we will see what he will be able to do. So, let's launch the match. You see the first grab is cancelled. My Turtle Fighter didn't receive damage because she was rolling during the first spell of Wind Priest, so for the moment it's really good. Ultimate of Armed Escort. All enemies are in one packet for the moment. So the ultimate of Wind Priest, the ultimate of Steel Champion, who is here for the second part of the fight against Wind Priest, and I'm lucky because my Turtle Fighter taunt Wind Priest. And finally, I have 5 heroes alive. It's luck, because you saw the taunt helped a lot. Also, the first grab, I need to explain you something. The first grab of Armed Escort is lucky for me, because Armed Escort, if he is in his middle line, and if you have Turtle Fighter behind him, he will do his ultimate behind, and he will touch absolutely nobody. And if we are checking damages, okay, not bad, 167,000 damage. It's difficult to tell something, but it looks not bad. We will see him in another situation now. For this second real match, I'm fighting against a team who is pretty famous actually in Grand Arena. It's a new team with a lot of bursts: Commando, Death Voice, Sorceress, Thunder Beast, and Avenger. Against this team, what I'm using Iron Hoof to absorb a part of the burst. I'm using Creep Monster with two objectives. First objective, he will be able to delay one of the ultimate of enemies by using his mana burn. And second objective, he has a crazy strong ultimate, and all enemies are in front of him. So if he succeeds to ultimate, he will be able to deal a good amount of damage. Armed Escort is not bad, he's here for the test. So that's why I choose him. Usually I think you have some better choices, but all team is in front of him, so his ultimate will touch everyone. All his skills will touch most of the time everyone, so he's not bad in this situation. After that, Magic Breaker. You have a lot of magical damage in front of you. Magic Breaker is really strong in this situation. When she will ultimate, you will be able to destroy damage who should kill you by 50% nearly, and she will also silence and deal some damage. And finally, Wind Priest is here to kill. So let's check the result. I get a burst. Creep Monster is alive, he's nearly dead, but he is alive, he will be able to ultimate. You saw that he did his mana burn, ultimate. Now, I'm sleepy. After it will be the ultimate of Armed Escort. Poof! Ultimate of Magic Breaker will come. And finally, ultimate of Wind Priest to clean the battlefield. The result is really interesting, and if we are checking the damage, 273,000 for Armed Escort, it's a really good score, and if I can tell, the objective of my team is done, because I absorb a lot of damage, and finally I did my damage after that, and I can absorb, enemy team can't, so I won. That's why it's really interesting to think like that. Let's now see a last situation. In this last situation, I have in front of me Cross Knight, Avenger, Divine Knight, Steel Champion, and Puppet Master. So a full physical setup. So what I will use? I will use Cross Knight also, who is able to receive a lot of damage. Divine Knight to cancel the lifesteal regeneration of my enemies, especially Avenger, Puppet Master, and Steel Champion. After I'm using Steel Champion to mess little bit the battlefield and to have a hero who is able to sustain. In this case, Armed Escort will be amazing because the full team is in front of me, excepted after the ultimate of Steel Champion, and I will blind them. So it's really interesting. And finally, I have a witch in this team. I hope that she will be able to survive. Normally, I think, because only the third skill of Steel Champion and the ultimate of Puppet Master will deal a lot of damage. Also, the second skill of Divine Knight. But I think she's able to survive. And if she is doing her ultimate, I have nothing against me to cancel and to do something bad with my ultimate. So let's check the result. like I told. So for the moment, my witch is not really efficient. I hope she will have time. First ultimate of Armed Escort. And I did my ultimate, you see. Puppet Master proc instant is shield. Divine Knight is dead. Now she should survive. Yes, she will survive. She did a second ultimate, and Armed Escort is nearly ready for a second ultimate. Now he will be not in good position because Steel Champion is in range, so he will do his ultimate in the wrong side. But it's not a problem. And finally, I win the match. And if you check statistic of the match, he's second damage dealer with 220,000 damage. It's not bad, and you have to think that he's blinding also. So he's not only here for damage, he's here for blind. And against a physical setup, I really think that this hero is really efficient. So it was the last situation. It's now time to speak about his strengths and weaknesses. As a strength for Armed Escort, 3 points in my opinion. First point, it's his capacity to survive. You saw in the beginning of the review is a statistic, but I will refresh it. 80,000 HP with full training, 730 of armor, 400 of magical resistance. You can add for this point that is a midliner, so he's not really exposed. Most of the time, he will survive during a wall fight. So it's a really interesting point. Second point, it's his blind, the scatter shot, who will blind all enemy in front line and mid line, but in the beginning of the mid lane, to be honest. And this skill will be really efficient, especially against a full physical setup, Cross Knight setup, some setup with a Turtle Fighter and Steel Champion, or something like that, and it will be really efficient. And final final strength is capacity to deal damage. It's a hero who will be able to deal 300, 400,000 damage in some situation, for sure, if you have all enemies in front of him. So, now that we spoke about his strengths, let's discover his weaknesses. 2 points that I'm considering as weaknesses for Armed Escort. So the first point, it's one hero without burst. It's a damage dealer, but who doesn't have a crazy burst, who will touch everyone in front of him, or even one target. He will deal a good amount of damage, but nothing crazy. And the second point, it's a directional hero. And a directional hero have some limit, because for example, against Turtle Fighter, against Steel Champion, against Arcane Sapper, if Arcane Sapper survive enough time, he will not be able to deal his damage like he should, because he will deal his ultimate behind him or in a small range, and he will touch only the hero who will be near him, and in this case, you will lose a lot of efficiency. So, that's all for his weaknesses. Let's now discover my final evaluation about Armed Escort. It's now time to give you my final opinion about Armed Escort, and like you can already see on your screen, I choose to put him as a situational hero. Why? Because in Arena, you have Turtle Fighter nearly everywhere, and against Turtle Fighter, he is not efficient. Most of the time, he will do his ultimate in the wrong side, and you will touch only one hero, so you will lose a lot of efficiency. In Grand Arena, is useful. It can be useful, but as offensive setup. You know that your enemy use Cross Knight team, okay, I will use him. You know that your enemy use one setup with 4 physical, 1 magical, or with a strong front line, I will use him. But as defensive team, I don't believe that he will shine. So, it's in your hand. If you want to try some setups, and if you want to give me some setups who are really efficient all the time, don't hesitate. I will be happy to discover it and to share with the community. So that's all for today for the review of Armed Escort. It's now time to conclude. Thank you everybody for watching this video. Don't hesitate to subscribe, like and share to support my work if you enjoy it. See you soon for another video. Bye bye.